Just a moment.
Fight for... No, I'm tired. I'm going.
Originally called a glorified t-shirt company full of wrestlers that weren't good enough for or cast off from WWE, All Elite Wrestling is in its 7th year of existence, in spite of a pandemic and WWE both going out of its way to counter-program them and signing away a number of their cast-off or not good enough for WWE wrestlers. When the company didn't fizzle out early on, they got a more long-term TV deal and set up, among other things, AEW Games, which announced 3 titles in short order: a crappy mobile casino game with AEW branding slapped on it, Elite GM, which seems to have been ditched entirely and locked away in favor of Rise to the Top, and the main event, AEW Fight Forever. Developed by Yuke's, who made the WWE games from 2000 until 2K took over in the mid-2010s, it was teased for a couple of years before finally releasing in 2023. Full disclosure, I didn't pay for this. Not because I was given a code, but because I stacked up so many discounts and coupons from Gamefly that I didn't even have to pay the shipping costs. On a semi-related note, you won't hear me say much about the visuals as I'm on a prior gen release, specifically the PS4 version. All I'm going to say is that the load times on this version are pretty damn short, often not even hitting 8 seconds. Anyone who's played stuff like the old Aki Engine WCW NWO games or WWF No Mercy can immediately see the parallels. The faster pace, the momentum bars, the music playing mid-match, the timed finishers, blocking by just sticking your chest out, the lack of commentary, which could be a positive or negative depending on how you look at it. I consider it the former because it almost never sounds natural. The mashing to get out of pinfalls and submissions with no other gauge or minigame element attached. But it also has various more modern conventions, like a more refined location-based damage system, passive abilities, or getting certain buffs or bonuses for landing certain attacks, taunting, reversing moves, or performing various other feats. Whereas the WWE games tend to lean more toward a simulation style, Fight Forever is much more arcade-like, which I think works better for an inherently unrealistic sport. And before some wrestling fan tries to actually that statement, I know from experience. You don't have to tell me. Those familiar with Yuke's WWE games will also likely notice some of the lingering issues that kept popping up over and over in their older titles, like how the referee is often really slow to get down and count pins, and CPU tag partners being really slow to prevent pin breakups, making anything other than a singles match way longer than it should be. In addition to DLC wrestlers, they also added a few free wrestlers based on streamers like John Blood, CM Pulse, and Tony Pizza Guy, as well as a couple custom wrestlers designed by AEW roster members because... Since the roster includes some wrestlers I like who have either never or rarely been in a game before, like Yuka Sakazaki, Orange Cassidy, Hikaru Shida, MJF, Darby Allin, and Eddie Kingston, it holds a bit more value to me than it might to other people. In terms of just playing the matches, I enjoyed Fight Forever, which isn't surprising since I also really liked the Aki wrestling games. Aside from what I've already mentioned, the atmosphere for matches is also helped by the crowd having both general chants, like Fight Forever or Holy Shit, and wrestler-specific chants. A few wrestler-specific traits were also included. Orange Cassidy can do a taunt where he puts his hands in his pockets and then keeps wrestling with his hands in his pockets, which is something he has done and done very well in his matches quite a few times. Among the weapons in the game are a skateboard. Darby Allin has used this many times, and in Fight Forever, you can ride the skateboard around as well as into and out of the ring. I'm glad this isn't just a thing Darby can do, because seeing someone like Nyla Rose or Wardlow use the skateboard is hilarious. I almost said Brian Cage, but then I remembered that guy actually knows how to skate. Matches are given star ratings, and based on your performance, the game doles out cash, which can be used to buy custom wrestler gear and intro parts, arena pieces, as well as some unlockable wrestlers and a referee. There are also daily and weekly challenges to complete for even more cash to unlock more stuff. Most of the good unlockables, though, are other wrestlers. and you get them by just playing the game for the most part. Which leads me to some good news and some bad news. The good news is it's possible for the women in this game to have matches involving men. It tended to suck playing as women in some more recent wrestling games because if you picked a female character, you'd inevitably only be able to challenge for 1, 2 titles, maybe 3, and you could only wrestle about 25% of the game's roster in the process unless you modded the game. Here though, if I wanted to see the words AEW World Champion Tony Storm, I can do that without modding anything. The bad news is some key matches and titles that are staples of AEW are missing from Fight Forever. The Dynamite Diamond Ring? No. Owen Hart Cup? No. Trios title? No. Trios match type? No. Blood and Guts, aka War Games? No. Strap matches? No. Casket match? No. Mimosa Mayhem? I mean, it might be for the best that it's not here, but no. At least we still have the exploding barbed wire death match. And yes, they included an Easter egg where the explosives turn out to be duds. On another note, why is Bryce Remsburg not in this game as a referee option? He's the only ref powerful enough to not just tombstone a sentient ice cream cone, but oversee a match between 2 invisible wrestlers. There's also no GM mode or rough equivalent, but there are a couple other modes of play. One is Stadium Stampede, which was added for free later. I was able to get in a full game of 30 people for this away from peak hours, but around the same time I couldn't find any randos for a normal-ass casual singles match. This is an online battle royal inside the Jacksonville Jaguars Stadium, and it does have the battle royal experience down pat. Wandering around not seeing anybody for a while, then either getting picked off or winning because of something dumb happening to go your way, like having a gun in a mostly melee-based mode. And just in case my sarcasm is a little too hard to read, I'll be blunt. Battle Royale games are a blight upon humanity. And then there's Road to the Elite. You pick a wrestler and more or less play through part of their AEW career, with the results of matches causing you to move between different blocks where different stuff happens. Anyone who's played No Mercy is very familiar with this block-style progression mode. It's semi-random, but there are some set events along the way. This mode seems way more geared toward playing as a custom wrestler, as picking a real wrestler means the stat building part of the mode is blocked off, and physical training becomes pretty pointless. Between matches there's the ability to go to restaurants or meet and greets or just go sightseeing to take in the local JPEGs, which lead to unlocking extra costume pieces or pictures for the in-game album. There's also an assortment of mini-games which... Most of these range from okay to kinda dull, but some are just a massive waste of time. Don't even bother trying the trivia game unless you're the kind of person who obsesses over the most mundane details from years-old AEW programming. On top of that, the writing for Road to the Elite tends to be pretty generic, particularly for the player character, which can lead to dialogue that does not fit some of the wrestlers at all. The worst part though is that you can only have one Road to the Elite save active at once. You can't start it again with another wrestler without completely overwriting the other one. And this leads into my quick and dirty comparison between Fight Forever and a modern WWE game, which goes something like this. Generally speaking, the WWE games are more fun to watch than to play, and Fight Forever is more fun to play than to watch. The WWE games have a lot more pageantry involved in their in-game presentation, which can be a double-edged sword. You can customize entrances and Frankenstein together all sorts of weird motions and pyro and video effects, but it can also mean having to sit through your friend's 4-minute-long ring entrance that he refuses to skip. It's still a net positive overall. Customization is a major positive for WWE games, with a wide variety of costume pieces and clothing as well as body and face-shaping tools to create utter monstrosities. Granted, this is partially due to having several games worth of assets accumulate over the years. They also include things like Universe Mode or MyGM, where you can either play in the week-to-week progression of the company or straight up book it yourself. Some WWE games also have the ability to customize playable storylines, including picking specific scenes, writing your own dialogue for them, and playing matches in between everything. This is how people who run e-feds played out storylines in between their matches, and how infamous moments like Chocolate Drop were born. While it might be a bit much to ask for from the first major AEW game, Fight Forever is still sorely lacking on the customization and in-match presentation fronts. For one thing, entrances don't get past a few feet down the entrance ramp before fading to black. You can spam the pyro and change the camera angle as this happens, but it's a fleeting novelty. And the aftermatch celebration, even for winning a title, typically doesn't last longer than 10 seconds. At least drop confetti or something, make it feel significant. Even with some added DLC, either for free or from the 4 season passes, you don't have the ability with custom wrestlers to customize physical builds or colors or overlapping layers, which on a base level severely hinders what's possible to create. If you want the full experience though, cost will be a problem. The base game with some of the free DLC elements will run anywhere from $11 to $12 used or $30 new, depending on the platform. The season passes each range from $17 at the cheapest to $30 at the most expensive. Some just add extra wrestlers, some add extra modes or minigames, some add moves and music. You really need to pay attention to what each of these has. Or you could say screw it and get the Ultimate Edition, which includes all the season passes and $100? If you can get the base game at a decent discount, I would say go for it. But as for which wrestling game I recommend if I can only choose one, the answer is obvious. Fire Pro Wrestling World.